Welcome, Mr. Dome, and welcome to this crypto update. Now, as you can see, Bitcoin is currently following the plan I showed you guys in the previous update that we topped for now, and now we're basically looking for a local bottom. I told you in that video that it's likely that we go to at least 120k, but it is possible that we go all the way back to this trend line as well. Well, now it starts to look like we might actually just have a bounce from here. So we would not go all the way down to 114k. But recently, as I've had discussions with you guys who are following me on this channel, a lot of you, or at least some of you, seem to be counter trading me. So that's going to be fun to see which one actually works. But anyway, I do believe that we will actually have a reversal to the upside from here. Why? Well, the answer is right now everything is looking quite bullish in the fact that we're seeing institutional inflows everywhere, and also we're seeing the adoption of staked Ethereum ETFs. So let me show you that first, and then I will show you all of the other data. But this is the big news right now. So when we go to the Ethereum validator queue, what you see here when I refresh this page is that the entry queue was 200,000 Ethereum. And now when I refresh this page, you can see it has now jumped to 1.4 million Ethereum. So that is a huge increase in the entry queue. And even when we go to the chart here, you can see the entry queue for Ethereum staking has just went absolutely vertical. And what is the reason behind this? The answer is obviously quite simple, and it is grayscale. Uh, it is the grayscale here. Grayscale's staked Ethereum ETF. So Grayscale was managing a couple of different Ethereum funds, and now it has converted those funds to allow Ethereum staking. And the deadline for this was October 10th, and it looks like it has gone through because we now saw the massive inflow into Ethereum staking. So this is obviously good because it means that the Ethereum is going to be locked for a long period of time. It cannot be sold and it cannot be moved. It basically has to be in the ETF until they unstake it. So all in all, this is quite bullish. It means less downward pressure, and it means that the network in Ethereum is more secure as well. I'm not gonna explain all of the data here that they explain. All I'm just gonna say is that we saw this huge spike in Ethereum staking. And that leads me to actually talk about Lido Finance once again. You know, I've been bullish on the token. It has gone down, so I have been just accumulating and accumulating, and now there's more reasons to be bullish for Lido, and I will explain why. So Van Eck, who applied for the Ethereum staked Ethereum ETF with the SEC, they are now joining Lido with their community call, which will be on October 16th. And they will be there together with Bitwise. And as of now, Bitwise does not have a staked Ethereum ETF yet, but Bitwise is one of the largest ETF providers on the planet. So they will talk about the future of Ethereum ETF with Lido Finance on October 16th. So I'm going to participate in this call, and I might make a recap of the call after it is over. I'm not expecting anything crazy to be announced here, but I will probably make a summary of this event anyway for you guys to look at. So Lido is making moves here. Lido version 3 should come out this month or next month. So there's that as well. And here is one thing that I actually had missed earlier. So Figment is an institutional custodian for staking Ethereum for its institutional customers. They are not currently doing liquid staking. They are providing their own staking service. But on September 30th, Figment, which is one of the fastest growing staked Ethereum providers on the planet as of now, they made this post on their own website. Lido version 3 explained with Figment plus Lido version 3 here in the graphic. So you can read through the whole thing here. most of it is just explaining basically how everything works. But what's most important is when you go to the bottom and you go to the looking forward section, it says, at Figment, we're committed to evaluating new staking infrastructure that could benefit our institutional clients. As Lido version 3 matures, we are exploring how ST vaults, which are Lido's liquid staking vaults, could be integrated into institutional staking workflows, combining the liquidity of ST-ETH with the control, compliance, and risk management institutions require. So it seems like Figment is about to join hands with Lido as well, which again proves my point that Lido is becoming an institutional asset, and I just want to front run everybody else, and that's why I'm just accumulating Lido like crazy, even though the price of LDO hasn't done quite well. Now, again, I could be completely wrong here, but I'm just so bullish on Lido as of now that I basically don't even want to talk about a lot of the other altcoins on the market. But there are some altcoins that are doing quite well. As of lately, I told you guys about the altcoin called ALTT. And this is a protocol that is basically in the trenches looking for new altcoins that are just created, where the market cap is basically under $1 million. And it's a community where you can just buy the alt token. And once you have that alt token, then you can basically participate and copy the trades some of the people are investing in there. But the alt token itself has done quite well. Also comparing to the price of Ethereum, it is basically up, what is it, 1,700%. So this token is likely quite good. Unfortunately, I don't have a better chart for it at the moment. This is basically alt versus the Ethereum price, but it has outperformed Ethereum as well. So this is doing quite well also, but this is completely different to LDO. This is basically in the trenches in the ultra minor cap category, trying to scout those small altcoins, whereas LDO is basically my play for institutional adoption of crypto. That's basically my current investment ideas. And then looking at the inflows, outflows, even though the price of Bitcoin has gone down, the institutional inflows continue to flow into Bitcoin, although the latest inflow was only $200 million, which is a significant slowdown, as we have seen Bitcoiners basically taking profits, and also we're seeing quite a bit of shorting on Bitcoin as well. So then when we go to the Ethereum ETFs, we have seen quite a lot of inflows, nothing too crazy as of now, but maybe when people realize that a lot of Ethereum is currently getting into the staking here, maybe this could actually, maybe the price action on Ethereum could change also to be more bullish once again. Now, one more thing I do want to mention with this Ethereum validator queue is that the exit queue also had a jump here. So the exit queue was below 2 million Ethereum, and then it immediately spiked to 2.5 million Ethereum. Now, I don't exactly know what is behind this huge spike here, but I got a little bit worried when I saw this, because it basically means that in about 30 days from now, this might become a sell pressure when this becomes tradable. But I don't know who did it or why they did it. It could be just a same thing what Kiln did, which caused this huge spike to go to over 2 million Ethereum. It was one staking provider for Ethereum, and the only reason they did this unstake here is that they changed their Ethereum staking infrastructure because one of their API keys somehow got exposed. So it was a safety mechanism, and they intend to restake the whole 2 point something Ethereum that they had in their custody. So most of that will eventually go back into staking anyway. So basically what I'm getting at is a lot of Ethereum is now flowing into staking, even though it looks a little bit scary on this chart here that, oh my God, a lot of people are unstaking Ethereum. It looks quite good from institutional adoption perspective. So all in all, things look pretty good on that front. When I hop over to Google Trends and we take a look at, actually, let me refresh this page again to see if there's any update here. Basically, no, the interest on Bitcoin and crypto is still basically non-existent. When I change this to 5 years time, you can see just how little interest there is for crypto and even for Bitcoin. Basically non-existent interest, no retail hype at all at these stages. So it's the price that we're seeing with Bitcoin reaching new all-time highs. It's only institutional inflows. What happens when retail investors come back here? That's basically when we will have the blow of top, and we're basically not there yet. So we're looking for more upside in the medium term. Now, hopping over to sentiment.net to look at some of the fundamentals. Uh, when I look at the supply of Bitcoin on exchange reserves, this gives me hope that there might not be a huge pullback after all. So we are seeing outflows from Bitcoin, outflows of Bitcoin from exchanges into people's wallets. And this is a healthy signal that people are not taking profits in a record pace. When we see some huge spike like this, that typically means that Bitcoin might be topping off, or at least it means that people want to basically sell their Bitcoin, because that's pretty much the only reason why they would deposit Bitcoin onto exchanges. So we're not seeing that. However, when I take a look at old Bitcoin wallets, the story changes here. So let me explain what's going on. When I take a look at these charts here, you can see on the orange line, on October 1st, we saw 50,000 Bitcoin that hasn't been moved basically for over a year, suddenly being moved here. And this typically signals profit taking from whales. And then we saw another 45,000 Bitcoin here, then another 30,000 Bitcoin. Then at the peak here, there was no significant moves of Bitcoin, but now they have come back. So here we are seeing another 30,000 Bitcoin moved, another 20,000, 25,000. Then yesterday we saw 30,000 Bitcoin being moved again. Now, luckily, these have been wallets that are basically holding Bitcoin between 90 days and 1 year, so short-term holders. But as you can see, just the latest numbers here, these are your long-term holders, this blue line. These are wallets that are holding Bitcoin for more than 3 years. So they are now taking profits. Even though the supply on exchange reserves is not growing, old whales are starting to take huge profits out of the table as well. And this is when I get a little bit anxious. Now we have seen quite a lot of profit taking from whales all throughout this time, but the reason why Bitcoin isn't dumping is because of institutional demand, and that is shown here in the yellow line. So this is wallets that are holding Bitcoin between 100 to 1000 Bitcoin inside their wallets, and they are just accumulating and accumulating and accumulating and accumulating. Even at the peak here, they still continue to buy more Bitcoin into their wallets. Meanwhile, everybody else is basically selling their Bitcoin here. So I would not be too surprised to see quite a bit of volatility. We could see that move complete here back to basically this trend line. That could still happen, but the institutional inflows are quite high at the moment, and like the name suggests, October, that is typically a good month, and usually November is also a good month. So we could see like a flash crash here, take out all of these longs here, and then move to the upside. But personally, I'm just accumulating at this moment because I do believe we're seeing another move to the upside in the even maybe by the end of the month. So I'm bullish, even though we might see this dip to the downside here in the short term. Now, one more thing, or a couple of more things I do want to mention, is when we hop over to bitcointreasuries.net. In my previous update, we had 344 entities holding Bitcoin in their reserves. Now we have 346, so 2 entities more. That is a healthy increase. And then in the previous update, we had 3.88 million Bitcoin inside these ETFs and treasury companies. Now we have 3.9 million Bitcoin. So that's an increase of roughly 20,000 Bitcoin into these institutional entities. So this is showing again good demand for Bitcoin, but this obviously could in the short term change if ETFs, for example, decide to sell. But all in all, this is still fundamentally looking quite healthy in my opinion. The story is basically the same on Ethereum. Since my last update, there was 5.5 million Ethereum inside ETFs and Ethereum strategic companies. Now there's 5.7 million Ethereum. So 200,000 Ethereum more are now suddenly in these institutional wallets. And that is a nice increase. Basically, actually, it is the ETFs that basically bought most of this Ethereum, except Bit Digital bought basically 30,000 Ethereum into their wallets also. So still quite a bit of demand for Ethereum, for Bitcoin as well. So things, in my opinion, still look quite good. Now let me see if I had some other news before I head over to short-term fundamentals. I guess I could talk about this just quickly. So Israel has now approved Trump's plan for Gaza ceasefire and release of hostages held by Hamas. Now I'm very happy to see this. This is a pretty good plan, I have to say. But Trump is saying that it is his plan, even though it seems like it might actually originate from the Middle Eastern countries, basically the Arab countries, but Trump is basically hijacking it for his benefit. But I don't exactly know. These are rumors. It could be completely Trump's plan, or it could be just a cooperation, but Trump is basically saying that it is his plan. But all in all, this looks good because if the Arab states are behind it, then there's more chance that it could actually go through. What I worry about with this plan is that as of now, it seems like Israel has already violated the ceasefire, even though they approved the ceasefire. This is not anything new, but it might still go through anyway. But the big problem comes not with the hostage release. I think that will happen. But what will happen is that there will have to be a initial withdrawal, basically behind this yellow line from Israel soldiers. And after that, basically phase one, then Hamas has to disarm and basically lay out their weapons. Now that's going to be the more difficult part, but we basically have 2 weeks to go there. If nothing too crazy happens during that time and it starts to look like we're heading towards peace, then I think some people might actually take more risk with altcoins and we might actually see some inflows by retail capital as well into Bitcoin and crypto. So that's basically why I'm explaining this as well. So I'm hopeful, but I still have my doubts that it will actually go through. If it doesn't go through, I'm not exactly sure if this really affects crypto anymore because this situation has been going on for such a long time already. I think people are just tired about it and they don't really react to the news, but it could have some impact anyway. Now, in the short term, we are starting to see some liquidation heat map moves here as well. If I go to the 3-month view, which I have primarily been looking at in the most recent updates, basically going to this peak here, there's basically nothing too interesting in this chart. So I had to go to lower time frames. Even if I go to 1-month view, there's basically nothing interesting here either. Okay, now there starts to be a little bit interest. Now it's basically the same as the 2-week time frame. So I will use this one for now. So what we are currently seeing as liquidation windows is basically this 117k area here. There's a zone here, and the next one obviously would be well, I think, yeah, actually it stretches basically all the way to 115k. So if that move happens, I wouldn't be too surprised because I just showed you guys that in the technical analysis. But this is basically where liquidations currently sit. But again, there starts to be quite a lot of shorting of Bitcoin as well, and we're seeing it here. So now we're starting to see that we could see a move to the upside as well, because as people get more cautious, the counter trade starts to be more viable to the upside. So quite a lot of shorts are now piling on top of us as well, and this is exactly what we like to see when we are hopeful for a pump to the upside. So this is good to see here. Now let's take a look at what order books tell us. And here what is interesting is when we take a look at the aggregated spot order book depth. Here I told you guys that we are starting to see a lot of sell pressure from from the order book limit sell dominance compared to the limit order buy dominance. And now we're starting to see that basically buyers are coming back as of now. Nothing too crazy, just a little bit buy pressure more than sell pressure on the spot markets. What's interesting here is when we take a look at futures markets, the futures markets are going completely ballistic currently with their limit order. So a lot of futures traders as of now are just completely betting that this now is the bottom and we will go to the upside. So these are your futures markets, and these are only limit orders. These are not active orders. But I saw another post on X. Unfortunately, I don't have it for this video, but it basically showed that even though the order books are basically filled with long orders, what we actually saw from open interest and funding rates, maybe I can actually pull it up from here because I do track funding rates. So let's see. Let's go to the shorter time frame. If I can change this, let's go here. Okay, this doesn't actually show it properly, but basically the funding rates collapsed to the downside here. And when that happens, that means a lot of shorting is going on in the market. So, well, the post I saw on X basically showed a lot less funding rate for Bitcoin, which was actually quite bullish in the short term. But this could be the short term low as well. But I wouldn't be too surprised to basically take out these long positions here, and from this trend line, we would go to the upside, or we just go up from here. So all in all, I'm bullish on altcoins. I think the October still has more upside to go. We could have a dip to the downside, but all in all, I think the markets are bullish, and that's basically my current position in the market as well. Just accumulating. Finally, let me take a look at the LDO as well, because I'm curious to see where the price currently sits. So it had a low of $1.12. Now it's $1.68. If we just draw a couple of lines here, we can see that it is basically trying to have a breakout, a fake out, second fake out here. I don't know. Maybe let's actually do this. So okay, if I do like this, then no breakout yet, but this is a bullish pattern. Is like a downward accumulation pattern. So I think we will eventually break to the upside from here, and there could be just massive moves on LDO, but all in all, I'm just accumulating. I see a very bright future for this token, and I haven't seen any better investment opportunity with the lowest risk than LDO. So that's basically why I'm just investing in it. Now, hopefully, I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm not wrong on this. I could be, but that's basically my take on today's crypto update. Hope you got some value out of it. Consider supporting this channel by subscribing, liking the video, and using some of my affiliate links if you are getting a crypto.com card, if you're opening an exchange account or anything like that. And make sure to watch a couple of my tutorial videos in the description as well. That's it. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one. Bye bye.